Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help make the big choices in life. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. We're not a media company. We don't own media. We don't own music. We don't own films or television. We're not a media company. We're just Apple. Technology alone is not enough. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. The most precious resource we have is time. Intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect. Customers don't measure you on how hard you tried. They measure you on what you deliver. Packaging can be theater. It can create a story. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. Life is about creating and living experiences that are worth sharing. You're already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. It takes a lot of hard work to make something simple. The only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. The best way to create value in the 21st century is to connect creativity with technology. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Quality is more important than quantity. One home run is much better than two doubles. In the first 30 years of your life, you make your habits. For the last 30 years of your life, your habits make you. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. Everything you call life was made up by people no smarter than you. Overnight success stories take a long time. The most important decisions you make are not the things you do, but the things you decide not to do. Don't just live a life, build one. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask, and that's what separates the people who do things from the people who just dream about them. You can't look at the competition and say you're going to do it better. You have to look at the competition and say you're going to do it differently. I want to put a ding in the universe. We had nothing to lose and everything to gain. Everything is important. That success is in the details. It's better to be a pirate than to join the Navy. Technology is nothing. What's important is that you have a faith in people, that they're basically good and smart, and if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. Follow your heart, but check it with your head. Everything is based on a simple rule. Quality is the best business plan, period. We believe people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe. And we believe that those people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do. It's technology married with liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields us the results that make our heart sing. You cannot mandate productivity. You must provide the tools to let people become their best. There were good times, there were hard times, but there were never bad times. Marketing is about values. It's a complicated and noisy world, and we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. So we have to be really clear about what we want them to know about us. If a user is having a problem, it's our problem. Stay hungry, stay foolish, and I have always wished that for myself. And now, as you graduate to begin anew, I wish that for you. I'm as proud of many of the things we haven't done as the things we have done. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. If you don't cannibalize yourself, someone else will. Don't settle, as with all matters of the heart you'll know when you find it. I sat in a garage and invented the future. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. Let's go invent tomorrow. If you want it, you can fly. You just have to trust you a lot. Recruiting is hard. It's just finding the needles in the haystack. You can't know enough in a 1-hour interview. I think if you do something, and it turns out pretty good, then you should go do something else wonderful. Not dwell on it for too long. Just figure out what's next. Much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Some mistakes will be made along the way. That's good. Because some decisions are being made along the way. We'll find the mistakes. We'll fix them. There's a phrase in Buddhism, beginner's mind. It's wonderful to have a beginner's mind. That's been one of my mantras, focus and simplicity. Simple can be harder than complex. You should never go to a meeting or make a telephone call without a clear idea of what you are trying to achieve. Computers are like a bicycle for our minds. Without passion, any rational person would give up. Sometimes when you innovate, you make mistakes. It is best to admit them quickly and get on with improving your other innovations. Strategy is figuring out what not to do. It's not a faith in technology, it's faith in people. People don't know what they want until you show it to them. That's why I never rely on marketing research. Our task is to read things that are not yet on the page. We have always been shameless about stealing great ideas. Death is very likely the single best invention of life. It is life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. We all have a short period of time on this earth. We probably only have the opportunity to do a few things really great and do them well. None of us has any idea how long we're going to be here, nor do I. But my feeling is I've got to accomplish a lot of these things while I'm young. The real art is knowing what to leave out, not what to put in. Design is a funny word. Some people think design means how it looks. But of course, if you dig deeper, it's really how it works. I don't really care about being right. I just care about success. I don't mind being wrong, and I'll admit that I'm wrong a lot. It doesn't really matter to me too much. What matters to me is that we do the right thing. Your customers don't care about you. They don't care about your product or service. They care about themselves, their dreams, their goals. Now, they will care much more if you help them reach their goals, and to do that, you must understand their goals, as well as their needs and deepest desires. The broader one's understanding of the human experience, the better design we will have. We've got to make the small things unforgettable. Creativity comes from spontaneous meetings, from random discussions. We're just enthusiastic about what we do. Fear of failure falls away in the face of death. This is a very noisy world, so we have to be very clear what we want them to know about us. Somewhere between the janitor and the CEO, reasons stop mattering. Right now the new is you, but someday not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it is quite true. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college. But it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Focus is about saying no, and the result of that focus is going to be some really great products where the total is much greater than the sum of the parts. The greatest artists like Dylan, Picasso, and Newton risked failure. And if we want to be great, we've got to risk it too. This revolution, the information revolution, is a revolution of free energy as well, but of another kind, free intellectual energy. Death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. I think this is the start of something really big. Sometimes that first step is the hardest one, and we've just taken it. Combine science and humanities. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path. You are all over the map. Figure out the top 5 things you want to focus on and get rid of the rest. In your life, you only get to do so many things, and right now, we've chosen to do this. So let's make it great. Most people make the mistake of thinking design is what it looks like. People think it's this veneer, that the designers are handed this box and told, make it look good. That's not what we think design is. It's not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. Ask for feedback from people with diverse backgrounds. Each one will tell you one useful thing. If you're at the top of the chain, Sometimes people won't give you honest feedback because they're afraid. In this case, disguise yourself or get feedback from other sources. Everyone here has the sense that right now is one of those moments when we are influencing the future. Don't just follow your passion, but something larger than yourself. We hire people who want to make the best things in the world. It's not about money. It's about the people you have, how you're led, and how much you get it. Expose yourself to the best things humans have done, and then try to bring those things into what you are doing. We're gambling on our vision, and we would rather do that than make Me Too products. Let some other companies do that. For us, it's always the next dream. There's an old Wayne Gretzky quote that I love. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been. And we've always tried to do that at Apple, since the very, very beginning. And we always will. A lot of people in our industry haven't had very diverse experiences. So they don't have enough dots to connect, and they end up with very linear solutions without a broad perspective on the problem. The broader one's understanding of the human experience, the better design we will have. To follow the path that others have laid before you is a reasonable course of action. Therefore, all progress is made by unreasonable men. Kickstart your brain. New ideas come from watching something, talking to people, experimenting, asking questions, and getting out of the office. Great engineers are a huge multiplier. When you're a carpenter making a beautiful chest of drawers, you're not going to use a piece of plywood on the back, even though it faces the wall, and nobody will ever see it. You'll know it's there, so you're going to use a beautiful piece of wood on the back. You can tell a lot about a person by who his or her heroes are. Shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just gonna live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I don't think of my life as a career. I do stuff. I respond to stuff. That's not a career, it's a life. Design is the fundamental soul of a human-made creation that ends up expressing itself in successive outer layers of the product or service. There are times when you run a marathon and you wonder, why am I doing this? But you take a drink of water and around the next bend, you get your wind back, remember the finish line, and keep going. Be ready to catch the ball when it is thrown by life. If you want to hire great people and have them stay, you have to be run by ideas, not hierarchy. The best ideas have to win. Do you create anything, or just criticize others' work and belittle their motivations? If you keep your eye on the profit, you're going to skimp on the product. But if you focus on making really great products, then the profits will follow. If you want to live your life in a creative way, as an artist, you have to not look back too much. You have to be willing to take whatever you've done and whoever you were and throw them away. I hate the way people use PowerPoints instead of thinking. Our goal is to make the best devices in the world, not to be the biggest. I hate the way people use slide presentations instead of thinking. People would confront a problem by creating a presentation. I wanted them to engage, to hash things out at the table, rather than show a bunch of slides. People who know what they're talking about don't need PowerPoint.